It's now time for On the Line with Cheryl Wilkerson. The conversation will range from local dialogue to international. This show is meant to enlighten, inform, and to inspire. On the Line with Cheryl Wilkerson begins now.
Hello and welcome to On the Line. I'm your host, Cheryl Wilkerson. You are joining me on a Sunday morning. I'm thankful for that. You don't have to do it, but you've done it. So I say thank you. Beginning of a whole new year, 2024. So what are you going to accomplish in 2024? What are you looking forward to? What are you making up your mind that you're going to accomplish? What are you cutting out in 2024? I don't do the resolution thing. I just try and be, like DJ B always says, I just try and be a good human. Sometimes I make it, sometimes I don't. So that's how I approach the new year. But however you approach it, that's fine. I love the beginning of a new year because I always have the most interesting guests, and I always start the new year with guests that people always remember and they always talk to me about. Now, the other guests people remember and talk to me about, but I remember last year, the first guest of the new year, I got so much feedback from that show. I have a feeling it's going to be the same way today. We welcome to On the Line, Clay Marquez. He is a warrior. He is the head of Guns Down, the Guns Down movement. Hello.
Hello. How you doing today, Cheryl?
How are you doing?
I'm doing wonderful. Thank you.
That's good. Who do you have with you?
I have Brother James Thomas and Brother James Washington.
Okay. Well, I want to thank you all for being my first guest in 2024. Okay. So I was listening to you a couple of weeks ago. You were talking on our morning show, and you were just talking about your movement and what you're trying to do out here in the community. So let's start with your background. Tell us as much or as little as you want about where you were born, what your family was like, and what it was like growing up.
I come out of the Norview section of Norfolk. When I was at the age of 13, we moved to Huntersville, and out Huntersville, that's where we grew up, and I ran the streets out there. I went to Grammy High School.
What does that mean when you say I ran the streets?
I ran the streets. I'm going to get right to it. Meaning that I did what I pretty much wanted to do out there. I dealt drugs. I hung in the street. I, hung out with older people. Just done a lot of things that I wasn't supposed to do.
Teach me why. Why did you do that?
Well, I did it because it was kind of like the thing to do. It kind of reminded me of that song, Street Life. The streets are very intoxicating. Even at a young age, the lure of it. And it's fascinating, it was to me, when I'm seeing older people, in nice cars, a lot of money, and I know that they didn't have no jobs and they hung out at the pool halls. So that was something, a life that I chose to go out there and pursue. So
that was all right with your family?
Well, Mom didn't know. We come from a single family household.
You believe that Mom didn't know?
No, well, I'm going to say she did because she had to work a whole lot, like 10 hours a day.
Okay.
And we come from a single family household. She had to raise 4 of us, And like I tell a lot of people out there, sometimes they say, I know it does start in the household, but I always used to tell my mother all the time that there's nothing that you done that persuaded me to do anything that I did. I chose my own path, So, but while she was at work, I chose to be, to hang out and do what I wanted to do out there in the streets.
So when you were choosing that, what age were you?
I was about 15 years old.
So when you're 15 and you're choosing that, does your brain say, I can choose this way or I can choose this way, but there are consequences? Or does your brain just say, oh, they got a nice car, so I'm going to do what they're going to do because they got a nice car? Or at 15, are we thinking that could get me in a lot of trouble?
Yeah, at 15, you're not thinking about consequences because we never think we're going to get caught until you do get caught.
Okay.
So you go out there and you do what you're going to do, because nobody thinks that you're going to get arrested. And then I found out that I was pretty good at doing what I was doing.
Okay. What made you good?
What made me good was I didn't get caught.
Not getting caught makes you good.
Right, and I made a lot of money doing it while doing it.
Okay. So what do you do with this money?
I put it up.
At 15?
At 15 and 16 years old, yes.
But if your mom is working 10 hours, do you say, Mom, I have something to help you out? Or you can't say that because then Mom will know? Right,
she would know, but I kind of did it discreetly. Because I always did work too. I cut grass, I helped people out in the streets and stuff like that. So I had my own hustle as well, legitimately, and I would work. I never had a problem with working. So I always had a side hustle or something that would account for the monies that I was bringing in.
So when you're teaching me that you always worked, you did the hustling because the pay was better than the other work.
Exactly.
Do I have it right?
The pay was definitely much better.
Okay, that's why you did. Okay, all right. So when you would offer your mom money, would she take it?
Yes.
And how about your siblings?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And how'd that make you feel?
It made me feel good because I felt like I was contributing. You know, I used to see my mother come home late at night, you know, suffering, and
Yeah.
you know, it was hard, you
Yeah.
know, being a single mother. So I take my hat off to a lot of single mothers out here that's doing what they got to do to take care of their family and their kids. And she did the best that she could. So by me cutting a few corners, I didn't think nothing was wrong with it.
Okay.
And then at the same time, I really didn't have anybody out there to show me a pathway like, look, young man, straighten out. You know, what you're doing is wrong. You
There
know,
was
so-
no family or friends or anybody, right?
Yeah, because I was always, you wouldn't even have known that the kind of money that I was dealing with because I was always a low-key kind of person. I never flashed it. So you wouldn't even know. Only those that knew.
Okay, so you graduated?
No, I didn't.
You didn't? Okay.
No, I didn't. I dropped out of school in the 10th grade, and then when I went to prison, I wound up getting my GED.
But what made you decide to drop out?
Well, I got expelled.
Okay, so you
Yeah, I
said,
got
I have
expelled.
enough of that. I don't need
Yeah,
this
I had
anyway.
enough of that. Yeah.
Right,
And
okay, I
then-
got you.
And then I was making enough money that I felt that I didn't even really need to go back to school.
I got you.
You know, just the lure of the street life. You know, I took it on full time.
See, I ask all these questions because I want to understand, and because there are people in this world that think that people that make choices that aren't the best, oh, they just didn't have to make that choice. They don't understand, or they're not trying to understand everything that went into it.
Right.
They just want to say, oh, you shouldn't have done that.
Right.
And that doesn't teach anybody anything,
exactly,
you know?
Exactly.
Okay. So you went to prison. How long did you have to go to prison?
I did 10 years in prison.
What is that like? I am. If any of y'all, if they ever say Cheryl did so and so and so, y'all all stand up and say that is a tale because I am petrified of prison. Okay.
Right.
So how was it for you?
I mean, it was real. The experiences was real. You know, you had to. Once you went in there, you had to become a man. You know, you had to go to
But
the
what
shower.
does that mean?
When I
You
say
had to
that,
become a man.
When I say be a man, I mean like minding your business. Because sometimes on the streets when we out here, we in everybody's business. You know, we trying to do too much. But when you in there, you know, you just better get in your own little corner or silo and just be a man. When I say that, sometimes you had to go to the shower with your boots on. You know, because if you showed any kind of weakness or something, you know, people would take advantage of you. You know, and people's lives was taken in there. You know, everybody that went in didn't come back home.
Did you make friends? I don't know if you call them friends. Did you make friends in there?
Yeah. And I actually had a lot of ties because I knew a lot of people from the street as well.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So when you went in, you knew a lot of people that were in there.
I knew a lot of people that was in there.
Okay, so you did the full 10 years?
Yeah.
Did you think you had to do the full 10 years?
No, I didn't. You know,
Did you have a
during the time-
lawyer?
Yes, I did. Billy Robinson. I think part of the school is named after him.
Technology building.
Right. See, but I had a mandatory sentence. You know, like the time I was in the federal system, and they go off of guidelines, and I was a first time offender. You know, a lot of times, like during the time that I went in, people was getting life sentences. They was first time offenders, and they don't understand the federal guidelines. A lot of times, the judges tell you right in the sentencing room that they hands are tied. There's nothing that they could do. They don't want to give you this much time, but it's in the books. It's a guideline. You know, so first-time offenders getting life sentences, you know, it was kind of ridiculous, you know. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so, yeah, I was sentenced to that.
So the 10 years, you had to do the full 10 years. What did you do the first day you got out? What did you do?
Well, first thing that I did when I got out was I just went and got with my family, you know, and spent time with them. You know, I had missed time out of my son's life, you know, because they grew up right in front of you, you know, so fast. And I was grateful for my sister. And
did they come see you? Did your son come see you?
Yes, they did. Yes, they did. Yeah, family.
Is that a good thing for the child to go to see somebody behind
bars? I believe it is. To me, I believe it is because you're keeping that bond and that connection. Some people don't want their children to come see them in there, but I did.
Okay.
You know, and see, the federal system is designed to break families up because in the federal system, they have penitentiaries in South Dakota, Connecticut. I mean, it's all over the states, all over the country. You know what I mean? And you 1,000 miles away, your family can't come see you.
Correct.
You know, and then it costs so much
Those
money.
doggone phone
Right, the phone is
conspiracies.
so much.
Yeah,
Exactly. If you send somebody some money, it might be $3.50 a call. But if you call home collect, it might be $8 per call. You know, and that's like a taxing on the family, you know, to try to do that and pay their bills and take care of the mortgage at the same time. Yeah, so it's pretty rough.
So you got home, and what did you decide? Did you make plans before you got out about what you were going to do when you got out, or were you just focused on getting out and I'll figure it out when I'm there?
I was bettering myself the whole time when I was in there, because I learned a saying when I was in there. It said 2 men looked through the bars, one saw mud, the other saw stars. So the one that saw the mud was the one that was getting in trouble, that wasn't trying to better themselves and was just running their time up. And the one that saw the stars was the ones that went to school, got the GED like I did, took several college classes, and just tried to become a better person. You know, so I chose to take that path. So I was just preparing myself, because I knew that I had to get into something different, you know, that I wanted to change my life.
What are you doing now?
Right now, you know, we have the organization Guns Down, where I run a auto mechanic shop, and I'm in the construction. And
you're into all of that?
Yes, because I knew that I was a person that liked the money, you know what I mean? So
right, so you gonna get it, right?
To change what I had to know, you know, I had to get a new skill set. So my mother will always mail me a lot of information for NRHA, you know, dealing with housings and property and stuff like that. And she did it very diligently, you know, so, you know, I was so grateful for that.
She meant that she was going to pour that into you.
Right, yeah. So I had to make better choices in life, you know. So I decided that, you know, I wanted to do better. You know, by me coming from the streets and a lot of people knew me and looked up to me, I felt that it was something that I could contribute, you know, something positive that a lot of these young guys, you know, that could respect. Because as I know, they're not going to listen to anybody. Can't anybody tell them something, you know.
I believe that.
Yeah, because I can't.
But will they listen to anybody if they know? So if anybody doesn't have a background that, you know, they would say, oh, you've been through something. But they know that anybody genuinely cares about them, will they listen to that person?
They will. I believe they will. And I'm not going to say that they won't listen. But one thing I do know is that we call it, in the line of work that I'm doing in CBI work, it's called a LTO, which is a license to operate, which is credibility on the street. And, you know, it's like I'm like gold, like shining to them so they can see the bling, you know, so it attracts them. So when they see like, well, okay, my OG, you know, he changed his life, you know, he doing something positive or different. Let me listen to what he had to say. I'm not ready to do that right now, but I'm going to hear what he has to say. And that's what a lot of the young guys out here doing now. You know, they saying, okay, I'm not ready, but I respect what you're doing, and, you know, just invite us out. But if you keep working on something long enough, sooner or later, you may be able to chip it away.
That is so interesting to me. If you're just joining us, Clay Marquez, he's the head of Guns Down movement. He's a warrior.
Yes,
and so we're talking to him today about life. And my main goal with this show is to get people to understand that just because you come from this rosy background where everything was wonderful, and everybody doesn't grow up that way. And
Correct.
Because everybody doesn't grow up that way, people make different choices, especially when they are children.
Exactly.
It's not just, one day they just decide to go rob a store. It's not like that. It's been built up in the past to get to that point. Am I right? If I'm wrong, you stop me, because you know whether I'm saying it right or wrong.
Yeah, you're right. And at the same time, sure, I look at the news now, and I was just reading something how Puffy's sons, right? You know, these are people that made it out of the community, you know, that made it from the hood, so to speak. His son want to throw up gang signs. Boosie's son want to sell drugs. T.I.'s son saying that he's standing on his business.
Michael Irvin.
But they don't, right, Michael Irvin's son. But they don't have to do these things, right? But it's just the lure and the attraction that they feel like they want street credibility, you know, in which they don't understand that we're trying to make it out. You know what I'm saying? You already have everything that you need. The only thing you got to do is go live your life and try to pull others up, you know, by the bootstrap. Not the other way around, you know, that this life is nothing that nobody wants. And they don't really understand it until somebody gets killed, shot, or somebody get incarcerated for you to realize that this life is nothing that you want to be a part of. Tell
us about Guns Down. Tell us about the signs around town. What's going on with that?
Well, approximately 4 years ago, we started putting up the street signs, like they're big major signs. They're like 4x8 signs throughout the city. And it would just say, stop the violence, guns down, the life you save may be your own. And it was just something to put on the minds of, the people. Like, you may be at an intersection, you may see it. Like, sometimes you may be riding down the street, you don't be that hungry, but when you see that McDonald's sign, you want something to eat. So we was thinking that, somebody may be contemplating going to go get vengeance against somebody or go shoot somebody, and they may read this and have a change of heart, and a change of mind. And we do know, me and the Jameses and our sister Yolanda Stoner, we know, she's a part of the organization as well. We do know that signs by themselves are not going to stop violence. That once the signs are up, we got to come behind the signs and get momentum behind it, and just, we got to have workshops. We got to go out and talk to the youth. We got to have round tables. We got to have discussions. We got to have youth circles. We are out here now. We're trying to help out with the feeding and stuff like that. There's food insecurities in our community. And one thing I know is that wherever there's crime, there's poverty. There's unemployment. Like, this just didn't happen overnight. This has been in the making for over years.
Okay. All right. So why are you all involved with the program?
Well, I've been in Virginia. March will be 15 years. I've been out here doing this well over a decade, since 2012.
Why?
When I first got here, it's something I ain't never seen before. I'm from a small town. Of course, we don't have this much violence in a small town. So I was like, man, this is crazy. I started.
It is.
It was a dramatic change because I had never seen nothing like this in my life.
So you saw it and you said, well, I can do something. I can help do something about it.
Yes, ma'am.
I got it. Makes sense. How about you, sir?
I started because I got 2 cousins got killed. I got friends getting killed. And I was so tired of people getting killed. And so I said, it's time to get involved and trying to save our young kids and stuff. So that's why I joined Guns Down and stuff. So.
All right. Well, thank you. So if there are people listening, how can they, before we run out of time, because I got a zillion questions, how can they contact you or what can they do?
Is Guns Down Movement Inc. at gmail.com. Guns Down Movement Inc. at gmail.com. And I also give out my personal cell phone number, because I'm accessible 24 hours. That's 757-738-8792. Again, that's 757-738-8792.
So I have questions for you. What do you say to the young men that are out here having babies but don't want to acknowledge them because they see the Nick Cannons of the world and they're like, he ain't taking care of his. Well, they say he is, but it gets me upset because if you have 12 kids and they're all over in different cities and all, and this one has a soccer practice tonight and this one has a piano recital tomorrow, you can't be everywhere all 12 kids want you to be at one time. So don't tell me, Nick Cannon, that you're taking care of your kids because I won't buy it. Okay. So what do you say to the young brothers that don't want to take care of their kids or don't understand the importance?
Well, I would tell them, coming from a family like that myself and my mother raising all of us, I understand that clearly, very clearly. And I just say to these young men that, you could barely take care of yourselves, and children cost. I mean, even a puppy, my puppy is very expensive, and if you don't have a job, you don't even have transportation, you don't have a means of livelihood, don't go out there just to be, having children, you know what I mean, with no aim or purpose. And I would say to the ones that do have the children to, accept your responsibility, be a man, and that's what it's all about, taking care of your children because, our children are being led astray. My one fear was when I was in prison was, somebody getting in the ear of my son and leading him in the wrong way, and that's what's happening.
Did that happen?
No, it didn't.
Okay, good.
But it is happening out here, and I feel and I bear some responsibility and guilt with a lot of these young guys because when we left the streets to go to the penitentiary, we left them with wolves, that's giving them misinformation, wrong information, telling them left is right and right is left, instead of telling them the truth. And we want to come back out here and just straighten it out and let these young guys know, that what they are facing, you know what I mean? It ain't all about it because you got to wait now. If you go, one thing about the streets and the drug game and stuff like that, a lot of these shootings and stuff, sometimes, we bring them on ourselves. Like if you go get drugs from somebody, right? And there's a debt to be paid back and you taking this man's drugs, there's consequences behind it. If you go break in somebody's house and they found out that you did it, it's consequences behind it. So a lot of these things, you know, we can stop ourselves, you know, and we just go and do what we got to do and just stand up and be men. But I know that a lot of these young guys don't understand it because I didn't understand it.
Okay.
You know, so we just need to try to get them in a room and get them at a table and just talk it out like men, you know, about life, you know, life skills, social skills, you know, and things like that. You know, that is what is missing in our community.
And I would think that you would get them in a room and talk to them, and I would hope that the mothers would respect you all taking them in the room, talking to them, and when you come out of the room, not ask them, what did you all talk about, what did they say, whatever. Let you all do what you do.
Exactly.
And women...
Exactly.
Go take care of the young girls that are having the babies.
Exactly.
go take care of them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. That makes
and 14 years ago, I lost my son to violence. Monte Branch is still unsolved, and you know, as well as, and that's why we
no. Stop. Unsolved.
Yes.
Do the streets know and the police know, but they can't prove it?
No, don't nobody know because
Okay.
I would have, and me being entrenched in the streets, I would have heard something. I have not heard anything. So I don't know if the perpetrators are gone or what the case may be, but we haven't heard anything as of yet, thus far, you know, but it's still an open case. And the worst thing is I know what these mothers go through. That's why we started the holiday ceasefire, you know, because this time of the year, you know, like after Halloween from November all the way to January, you know, it's the worst time of the year for families, you know, to lose someone. You don't want to lose no one, period, anyway. But I'm saying I know that holiday time is closeness and stuff, and I spoke to mothers during this time, and they didn't even want to cook Thanksgiving. You know, they just don't have that feel good anymore, you know, and they just wanted to just go bury themselves somewhere, you know, because they don't have their loved one with them. So we wanted to try to get in between that, you know, to try to do what we can to do our part to try to save a few lives out here.
So you're having the town halls and you're having the round table discussions and all of that?
Yes, ma'am.
And did you say people could follow you? Do you have Facebook?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Yeah. And tell people how they can follow you again on Facebook. Is it Guns Down Movement?
So was it Stop the Violence, Guns Down?
Guns Down, Stop the Violence.
Yeah, Guns
Down Violence.
Yeah.
Okay, that's important. People may want to know.
And I have my own individual page, which is under Clay Marquez as well.
Okay.
And I got one under Jane Thomas.
Okay.
And James Washington on Facebook.
Okay. All right. So you all are really busy in the community. What is the reaction you get from the community? First of all, from the young boys that y'all trying to put some wisdom into. What do they say?
Well, the young men are warming up. I done had a few that told me, I ain't trying to hear that what you talking about. I personally have had like 8 guns turned over to me.
They'll just bring them to you?
Yeah.
Wow.
I put out the call and they bought them. And I turned them over to the Norfolk Police Department. They came and picked them up. One wanted to change his life. He wanted to get a job at the shipyard. One went to Job Corps, you know, and one just wanted to get out of their life, you know, because they understand where they see the sincereness, you know, because they're watching you. And a lot of these guys, a lot of my older ones, you know, they know my walk, they know my past, and they know what I used to be into. And when they see the change, you know, they applaud it, and then they support us. And they say, look, I'm not there yet, but I'm going to stop the violence, you know. And I'm going to say right over in Huntersville, as B can speak to this. A year and a half ago, Huntersville was designated as one of the most homicidal neighborhoods around here in the city.
It's been that way for a minute because I remember I had a friend and he would clean carpets and he had to clean a carpet over there one day and I had some vitamins he wanted.
Right.
And he would not let me go over there to give him the vitamins where he was working because he said it was too dangerous.
Correct. And as of now, there hasn't been a shooting over there, a gunshot fired over there in over 11 months. You know, we've been over there working in the communities.
Do you work with the Norfolk Police?
Yes.
They know your name?
Yes. You know, we you know, because you have to work together, and the community know that we are not the police. You know, we are our own organization. You know, so there has to be a trust factor, but we have to collaborate. And so we go through there, and it's not just us. You know, the Civic League is doing a great work out in the community. You know, new houses are being built out there, out Huntersville as we speak. You know, so you know the development is great out there. So it's becoming a new community. And I went out there. I know a lot of the OGs that's out there, and you know, because we come up together. And I just told them that, you know, stop the shooting, you know, stop the killing, you know, and you know, because they was going back and forth doing drive-bys and so forth, and you know, innocent people was getting shot, you know, so we would like to think that, we were part of, trying to help stop that violence that was being perpetrated out there.
Mm-hmm. It makes sense to me.
Yes.
So I did an interview last year with NASA. I went over to NASA, and, these people have 2 and 3 PhDs, and I tell this story often. I'm feeling like, Cheryl, you just ask people questions for a living, and
Yes.
these people are putting people on the moon and space, and I'm like, Cheryl,
Yes.
So when I talk to you, I get that same feeling, because you just like go out here and stop craziness and help young people and change their lives. And it could just be one, and it would be magnificent, but it's
Right.
lives.
Right.
So I'm sitting here feeling like Cheryl, and you just ask questions for a living, So my hat goes off to you.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
And, I don't, like I always say all the time, I don't have, just a GED, but my PhD is in the streets.
I don't think you should say just a GED.
Well, when
I don't like
say
that.
I'm not minimizing
You say
what it is.
JE, I have a GED,
Yes,
okay?
ma'am.
Because you
Okay.
did the work.
Okay, yes, ma'am.
Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. It
Yeah.
does. It does. And I thank you for that.
Like people say, I'm just the janitor.
Right.
Okay, a building cannot be clean by the government standards.
Correct.
It can't be open if it's dirty.
Correct. Correct.
Yeah,
That's
so
right.
I
You're
don't.
exactly
Yeah,
right.
we're not doing that anymore.
Okay,
Okay,
well,
so
thank you.
we're running out of time here, but you all have been totally great guests for my new guests for 2024. I just don't know
Yes, well, we thank you for having us.
how to say thank you. This has been good, because I just hope it opens some people's minds and they understand everything isn't so cut and dry, and there are reasons why people do the things they do. And if they don't have help and support, they might get into something that you don't get into, but you've got help and you've got support.
Exactly. Yes, we have to bring the village back.
Yeah,
For sure.
yeah. And we got to teach our young ladies, to not just be baby carriers,
Right.
We got to teach them. All right. So do you all have any events coming up that you want to talk about in 2024, or you want to just give out your information and where people can find you?
We have something that's coming, but I can't put the cart in front of the horse right
Okay.
now, because the city has to make their announcement. Then,
Okay.
if we are able to maybe come back again, we could
Okay.
explain exactly
Gotcha.
what that is. And,
Okay.
But I know that we're going to roll holiday ceasefire until ceasefire don't stop, and into the Mother's Day ceasefire and so forth. So we're just going to keep pushing the narrative.
Okay. So once again, Clay Marquez, he's a warrior, Guns Down Movement. You can find him on Facebook, Guns Down Violence. Did I
Stop
get that
the
right?
violence.
Stop the
Okay.
violence.
Yes, ma'am.
Stop the violence. Okay. All right. And the phone number you wanted to give out?
757-738-8792.
8792. All right. You all, my best friends for today.
Okay, well, thank you so much for having me. I love you so much.
You all, thank you for listening to the show today. I thank you so much for always being the best audience in Hampton Roads. And we always end it with Behold the Green and Gold. Take care.